All right, today I'd like to talk to you about the building blocks of matter and the atom. So let's get started. I'd like to give you guys a perspective as to how big an atom, or really how small an atom really is. If I had around 18 milliliters of water, I would have 6 sextillion molecules of water. That's 6 with 23 place values after that 6. It's a big number. If we wrote it out in scientific notation, it would be 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd molecules. That is a huge number. In fact, it's such a large number that if I had 6 sextillion basketballs, I would have enough basketballs to create an Earth or something as large as the Earth. To give you another kind of example as to how big this number is, if you had 6 sextillion dollars and you spent $1 million per second for the rest of your life, you would have 99.99% of all of your money left over. It's a gigantic number. Let's take a look at a traditional picture of what an atom looks like. This is the atom here. Now, this is not a correct picture of what the atom actually looks like, but it's easy to draw, so let's take a look at it. There's two parts. There's a nucleus, which is in the very center of the atom, and then surrounding that nucleus are electrons, and those electrons exist in orbitals. An orbital is an area where an electron could be found. Here's another picture of it. This is a picture of a hydrogen atom. So that red and yellow area is the nucleus, and surrounding it would be its hydrogen's single electron. The picture on the right here is another representation of an atom. In the center, very small nucleus, and then surrounding it are these different structures, these different pictures. Again, they're called orbitals. If you remember, orbitals are areas where electrons are likely found. All right, so we're going to make some concept map notes, and I'd like you guys to start off by writing down atoms. The word atoms, these are the building blocks of all matter. And atoms are made of a nucleus and one or more orbitals. Now, what's the nucleus? The nucleus is the center of the atom. The nucleus is very dense, and the nucleus accounts for most of the atom's mass. That means that if I have 18 milliliters of water, like in that slide before, most of the mass of that water would be coming from the atom's nucleus. Now, if the nucleus accounts for most of the mass of the atom, then we must know that the nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons. So if the nucleus is very, very has a lot of mass, so do then the protons and neutrons. Now, these guys have charges too. Protons have a positive charge, and neutrons have a neutral charge. Okay, so if atoms are made up of a nucleus, which accounts for most of the mass, the orbitals are mostly empty space. With that said, the orbitals account for most of the volume of the atom. So the nucleus, most of the mass, the orbitals, most of the volume. That's the size. So when we go back to that 18 milliliters of water, that volume of water comes from the fact that the electrons in those orbitals take up most of the space. Now, orbitals consist of, or hold rather, the electrons. Let's fill in the chart that I gave to you guys. So let's take a look. Oops, never mind. We're going to say first that electrons have a negative charge. Okay, so now let's fill out that chart that you guys got for your notes. Okay, so the location of the proton is the nucleus. The size is around 1 atomic mass unit, or AMU. and the charge of the proton is +1. The neutron, along with the proton, is found in the nucleus, and the neutron has about 1 atomic mass unit, or AMU, as its size. The neutron is neutral and has 0 charge. Finally, the electron exists outside of the nucleus and exists in orbitals. The electron is not very massive at all. In fact, it's around 1/2000th the size of one proton or one neutron. It's very small. So 1/2000th of an AMU, or atomic mass unit. The charge is the opposite of a proton. The charge of an electron is -1. So there are the basic beginner notes for the atom. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, ask me them, I guess. Adios.